Picture this, a 73-year-old man, fit as a fiddle, or so everyone thought, went to bed one night after a perfectly ordinary day. He'd laughed with his grandkids, taken his usual evening stroll, and settled in with a cup of tea. But the next morning, he didn't wake up. His family was stunned. No warning signs, no glaring health problems, just a peaceful night that turned into a silent tragedy. Could it have been avoided? The truth is, after 70, the way we approach bedtime can make all the difference between waking up refreshed and not waking up at all. Small habits, ones you might not even think twice about, could be quietly chipping away at your health, raising the odds of heart trouble, strokes, or worse. Today, we're diving into 5 bedtime mistakes that could be putting you at risk after 70. These aren't dramatic, obvious errors, they're subtle routines you might have carried for years, assuming they're harmless. But as our bodies change with age, what worked in our 40s or 50s can backfire now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to avoid, why it matters, and, most importantly, what to do instead to protect your health, sleep better, and feel stronger every morning. Stick with me to the end, because the 5th mistake is one so many folks over 70 make without realizing it's a ticking time bomb. Let's get started. Mistake number 1, eating too much, too late. Let's kick things off with a big one, eating heavy meals too close to bedtime. Maybe you've got a habit of enjoying a hearty dinner at 8 p.m., or you love a late-night bowl of ice cream while watching your favorite show. I get it, it feels good in the moment. I used to do it myself. Back in my 60s, I'd whip up a big plate of spaghetti after a long day, sauce dripping everywhere, and crash on the couch feeling full and happy. But after I hit 70, I started noticing something. I'd wake up sluggish, my stomach churning, sometimes with this nagging burn in my chest. It wasn't just discomfort, it was my body sending me a warning. Here's why this matters. As we age past 70, our metabolism slows way down. That digestive fire we had in our younger years? It's barely aglow now. Your stomach takes longer to break down food, and lying down too soon after eating can send acid splashing up into your esophagus. That's acid reflux, and it's more than just heartburn, it's a risk factor for serious issues. Studies show that chronic reflux can damage your throat and lungs over time, even raising the odds of something called aspiration pneumonia, a lung infection that's especially dangerous for folks over 70. Worse yet, a full stomach at night keeps your heart working harder when it should be resting. That extra strain can spike blood pressure or trigger irregular heart rhythms, both linked to strokes and heart attacks in your sleep. Think about it, when you were 50, you could scarf down a burger at midnight and sleep like a baby. But now, after 70? That same meal could be a recipe for trouble. Let's say you have a late supper, maybe some roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and gravy at 9 p.m., then head to bed by 10. Your body's still grinding away at that food while you're horizontal. Acid creeps up, your sleep gets choppy, and your heart's pumping harder than it should. Over months or years, that wear and tear adds up. So, what's the fix? Aim to finish your last big meal at least 3 hours before bed, for if you can manage it. If dinner's at 6 p.m., you're golden by 9 or 10. But I know hunger can sneak up later, especially if you're up watching the late news. Instead of reaching for something heavy, try a light snack that won't tax your system. A handful of almonds, about 10 or 12, is perfect. They've got healthy fats to keep you satisfied and a bit of magnesium to relax your muscles. Or go for a small apple with a dab of peanut butter. If you're a tea drinker like me, a warm cup of chamomile can settle your stomach and signal your brain it's time to wind down. This isn't about deprivation, it's about timing. I've been doing this since I turned 70, and the difference is night and day. No more waking up feeling like I swallowed a rock. My sleep's deeper, my mornings are brighter, and I know I'm giving my heart a break. You can do this too, one small shift, and your body will thank you. Mistake number 2, gulping down liquids before bed. Next up, drinking too much right before you hit the hay. Now, I'm all for staying hydrated, water's a lifeline, especially as we get older. But there's a catch. After 70, piling on the fluids in the evening can turn a good habit into a risky one. How many of you wake up 2, 3, even 4 times a night to shuffle to the bathroom? I've been there. For a while, I'd sip a big glass of water at 9 p.m., thinking I was doing my body a favor. Then I'd spend half the night stumbling around in the dark, bleary-eyed and grumpy. Turns out, I was setting myself up for more than just annoyance. Here's the science. After 70, our kidneys don't slow down at night like they used to, and our bladders lose even more of their stretch. That means even a modest glass of water, or that decaf coffee you swear doesn't count, can fill you up fast. You wake up needing to go, and every trip breaks your sleep cycle. But it's not just about losing rest. Getting up in the dark raises your risk of falls big time. Picture this, it's 2 a.m., you're groggy, and your bladder's screaming. You swing your legs out of bed, stand up too fast, and whoosh, your blood pressure dips. That's postural hypotension, and it can leave you dizzy or flat on the floor. For folks over 70, a fall can mean a broken hip, a concussion, or worse. Studies say nighttime falls are a leading cause of injury after 70, and overactive bladders are often the culprit. Then there's your heart. Frequent waking spikes your stress hormones, keeping your blood pressure higher than it should be at night. Over time, that can wear on your cardiovascular system. And if you're guzzling caffeine late, like that sneaky soda with dinner, it's a double whammy. Caffeine's a diuretic, so you're producing even more urine. I learned this the hard way one summer when I downed iced tea at a barbecue and spent the next 3 nights regretting it. The fix? Front-load your hydration. Drink most of your water earlier, aim for 6 to 8 glasses between morning and late afternoon. After 6 p.m., ease off. If you're thirsty, take small sips instead of chugging. Swap that evening coffee or juice for a tiny cup of herbal tea, something like peppermint, which soothes without overloading you. And watch out for hidden liquids, soups, watermelon, even some meds can tip the scales. Since I cut back on nighttime fluids after turning 70, I'm down to 1 bathroom trip, if that, and my sleep's so much steadier. Try it tonight and see how it feels. Mistake number 3, sleeping in a toasty room. Number 3, keeping your bedroom too warm. I'll admit, I used to love a cozy setup, thermostat cranked to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, a thick quilt, the works. Felt like a hug from the universe. But after I passed 70, I realized I was cooking myself in my sleep, and not in a good way. After 70, a hot room isn't just uncomfortable, it's a health hazard. Your body's thermostat changes with age. We don't sweat as well, and our ability to cool off weakens even more. Pile on a warm environment and you're asking for trouble. When you overheat at night, your heart has to pump harder to shed that heat. That's extra strain when it should be resting. For folks with high blood pressure or heart conditions, more common after 70, this can tip the scales toward a nighttime event, like a clot or arrhythmia. Plus, heat messes with sleep quality. Ever wake up sweaty, tossing the covers off, feeling like you ran a marathon? That's your body stuck in shallow sleep, missing the deep, healing stages that repair your cells and boost your immune system. Research backs this up. Seniors who sleep in warm rooms dehydrate faster, thickening their blood and upping stroke risk. Take my neighbor, Tom. He's 74 now, and he used to love his electric blanket set to sauna. He'd complain about feeling wiped out every morning, even after 8 hours. I suggested he ditch the heat and try a cooler room. 2 weeks later, he was a new man, sharper, happier, sleeping like a log. The ideal temp? Experts say 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds chilly, but it's magic for sleep. Your body cools naturally at night, signaling rest. I keep mine at 65 degrees Fahrenheit now, with a light cotton blanket and a cracked window for air. If you're not ready to freeze, start with breathable sheets and skip the flannel pajamas. You'll wake up fresher, I promise. Mistake number 4, ignoring your sleep position. Now, let's talk about how you sleep, specifically, your position. This one's sneaky because it feels so personal. You've probably slept the same way forever, right? I was a back sleeper for decades, flat out, arms at my sides, like a soldier. Felt natural. But after 70, I started waking up with a dry mouth, a pounding head, and this vague sense I wasn't breathing right. Turns out, my trusty old position was working against me. Here's why it matters. Sleeping flat on your back lets gravity pull your tongue and throat tissues down, narrowing your airway. That's a setup for snoring, or worse, sleep apnea, where you stop breathing for seconds at a time. Untreated, apnea jacks up your risk of heart disease and stroke by starving your body of oxygen. Even without apnea, back sleeping can strain circulation. On your right side? Studies hint it presses on your heart, especially if you've got fluid buildup issues, something more common after 70. I saw this with my dad. He'd sleep on his right into his 70s, wake up puffy, and wonder why his legs felt like lead. The gold standard after 70? Left side sleeping. It boosts blood flow, eases heart workload, and keeps acid reflux at bay by positioning your stomach below your esophagus. It's not just theory. I switched to my left side a few years ago, and my morning energy's through the roof. Takes practice, though. I use a body pillow to lock me in place, stops me from flipping back. If your hips ache, tuck a pillow between your knees for alignment. Elevate your head a smidge too, it opens your airway. Small tweaks, big payoff. Mistake number 5, skimping on a bedtime wind down. Finally, the one most folks miss, not giving yourself a proper wind down. After 70, your brain doesn't shift gears as fast. You can't just leap from a tense movie or a heated phone call into bed and expect peace. I used to scroll my phone, emails, news, you name it, right up to lights out, even into my 70s. Thought I was relaxing. Nope. My mind would race, and I'd wake up feeling like I'd wrestled all night. That's because stress hormones like cortisol stay high without a buffer, and sleep suffers. Poor wind downs do more than steal rest. They keep your nervous system revved, raising blood pressure and heart rate when they should drop. Over time, that's a recipe for cardiovascular strain or worse. I think of my Aunt Helen. She'd watch crime shows till midnight well into her 70s, then wonder why she felt jittery. When she swapped TV for a book and soft music, her sleep and her mood transformed. The fix is simple but powerful. Give yourself 30 minutes to an hour before bed, no screens, no drama. Dim the lights, your brain reads that as rest time. I love a warm bath, it drops my core temp after, priming me for sleep. Or try gentle stretches, 5 minutes of leg lifts or shoulder rolls eases tension. Sip that chamomile tea, read something light, or just sit and breathe. Since I started this after hitting 70, my nights are calmer, and I wake up ready to tackle the day. You've got to try it. Final thoughts. There you have it, 5 bedtime mistakes that could be quietly shortening your life after 70, eating too late, drinking too much before bed, keeping your room too warm, sleeping in a position that works against you, and rushing into sleep without winding down. These aren't just habits, they're risks we can't afford to ignore anymore. But here's the beautiful part, you don't have to live with them. Simple tweaks, like finishing supper a few hours earlier, easing up on that evening glass of water, cooling your bedroom, switching to your left side, and taking a moment to relax before bed, can rewrite your nights and protect your health. Imagine waking up with energy to enjoy your morning coffee, chat with old friends, or watch the sunrise, feeling better than you have in years. That's what these changes can do. Pause for a moment, which of these habits sounds familiar? Maybe you're nibbling late into the evening, or waking up sweaty and restless from a toasty room. I've been right there with you, piling on pasta at 9 p.m., glued to my phone till midnight, and it wore me out. Now, at 73, I've turned it around with these exact steps, and I'm living proof it works. My sleep's deeper, my days are fuller, and I feel stronger than I did in my late 60s. You can too, it's never too late. So here's my challenge, pick one thing to try tonight. Skip that late snack, cool your bedroom, or just breathe deep for a few minutes before lights out. One step could spark a whole new way of living. I'd love to know what you think. Drop a comment below with one thing you learned today or a change you're ready to make. Your voice matters here, it's what fuels this community. And if this hit home for you, don't walk away, subscribe now and click that bell. We're here every week with real, down-to-earth advice to help you thrive past 70, from staying fit to sleeping sound. Hit that red button and join us, let's keep this going together. Thanks for being here, I'll see you in the next one.